Tuning into the online broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
There it is. Okay, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us for another AfterBuzz TV after show for Call the Midwife. This is Series 5, Episode 4. And I'm John Comerford, joined in the studio by Marisa Serafini.
Hello, everyone.
Tamara Berg.
Hi, everybody.
And Courtney Stewart.
Hello, hello.
All right, so this week we had Sister Monica Joan, organ opining. We had Fred becoming a haberdasher. And we had Dr. Turner calling it quits.
Yes.
So, where I wanted to start off was...
I've missed you in your intros,
I know, I haven't always done them. I couldn't refuse. I mean, haberdasher, you get a, when you get a term like that, you got to use it, right?
You got it.
That was terrific. And, of course, who else would come up with it but Fred?
But Fred himself.
Very excited, very happy. But where I wanted to start with was the bulk of this particular episode, which was the other storyline, where we get Roseanne and Dennis. And I was... always this thing gets you in different ways and stuff like that, and just the birth, because I don't think I've ever seen a birth on Call the Midwife where a midwife wasn't present,
right?
At least personally present, and I was just that one really affected me. She's having giving birth.
A BBA.
Yeah, BBA. Yeah.
Arrival.
Yeah, and did it, guys, get you at all, or what were you thinking of it? Or?
It happened so fast because I was looking at it. I was like, that was in the first 15 minutes of the episode. What else is there going to be?
Yeah.
Right. I was completely stressed out by the birth scene.
Yeah.
I was like, that actress really, like,
her pain was real.
Yeah.
It was really real.
Yeah.
She
did an excellent job.
Because, sometimes it's just the pain. So I'm like, well, maybe she's not actually going to have it. But then when she's like, I can feel, I was like, oh my God, it's crowning, it's coming out. Ow.
And there was blood.
There was blood.
Yeah. That was terrible.
And the crazy thing was, Crane, kept saying over the phone, "You just breathe, like with short breaths here and there." I was like, and I realized I wasn't even breathing throughout the whole time, like holding my breath. Like, oh my
and I was thinking, how terrible would it be to be the midwife on the other end of that phone?
Yeah.
And she wasn't even a midwife.
The 911 operator, essentially.
Exactly.
But that's why I thought it made the scene even better, because here you have one midwife, car's not working, so she's got to ride the bike. Not Lance Armstrong, even without the doping. So she's not a very good rider to begin with.
Yeah.
But the fact that you're cutting between everything, and then you have somebody on the phone who, this is not her gig. She's not, so, baptism by fire, pardon the pun. But, so they're all trying to figure this out. Nobody is expertise at this. So I thought that was well crafted.
And I loved that Delia was saying, you're doing a great job.
Yeah, you're brilliant.
I loved it.
Brilliant. And it was so sweet. And then when Phyllis finally arrived, I would think that you walk in, you see this scene, and you're ready to get to business. And the first thing she does is give her a hug and a kiss.
Yes, the thought. I loved it.
She cradles her like she was cradling her child.
Yeah.
It just felt like having a mother there.
Yeah.
But all
the imagery was great.
Messy and craziness about it, like this for me, and maybe I just don't recall it, but for whatever reason, this specific baby that they used, when the baby finally breathed and opened those eyes, and there was just a shot of those big saucer dark eyes. I was like, oh my God, you took all the pain away and I didn't even give birth. It was the best shot ever.
It was.
Yes.
It's true. It was very different.
It was just different. Like the way they, over the top like that, it was great. It was great. She cried.
His baby of happiness. Well, I really admired the cinematography during that birth, because a lot was happening so fast, and then near the end when the baby was actually coming out, there was this shot where all you see are the hands. Yeah. And I kind of thought I was going to cut to Phyllis's hands, that like she came in during the madness and actually helped deliver, but no, that was on her own.
No, she just yanked it out.
Yeah, that was it, because there was a moment there going, she's actually giving birth right now. I'm actually seeing a birth.
It's real. Yeah. It's real. There are no actors involved.
No.
Yeah.
Clearly it wasn't. But
you've been so brave.
Oh,
I know. But scary. That's what I wrote on my notes. Scary. I was very, very scared during that scene.
Nail biting.
Breathing like, please breathe, please breathe, please breathe, please breathe.
And it's interesting because that was kind of her arc the whole time for Roseanne, because she wasn't prepared for this. She didn't think she was up to it, wasn't worthy of it. She was scared the whole time that it wasn't going to make a safe play. I mean, that was the whole theme on that. And it's interesting that they were able to create that in that first sequence for you while she was actually giving birth. So that's what the child came in with. It's like, so just delving deeper into that. So the whole storyline, we don't know the backstory between her and her husband Dennis, and he's much older. And I'm going, what are they? You know, I don't know about you guys, but all kinds of questions were coming up. It's like, how did they two get together? And
for sure,
I literally wrote it down. What is going on? Was she a hooker?
Question mark. Exactly. At some point, I was going, that's not his kid, or she. You know, there's something else going on here. And I think that, and I think at some point I thought that myself. I can't remember if I said it out loud. But yeah, it was like, And I thought they were great they're very stingy about the information, and when they rolled it out, that was terrific, and we had to figure it all out, which was great. I liked that. So did you have any thought about?
I thought it was very smart because, you know, the audience is still trying to figure out the relationship between her and the husband. I just noticed there was a big age difference, so eventually we were going to find out the answers.
Yeah. Did you guys?
Right, and then there were a lot of layers going on. So there was, she can't read, there's the age difference, whose baby is this? Right. What is going on? Is she a hooker? You know, where did they meet?
What is going on?
You know, so it was definitely.
And there was a lot of lying from them and covering up. You know, she's going to go, and he says, no, she's visiting her mother. And all, and
everything's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
That whole "I'm not real." I was like, what do you mean you're not real? Like, what is going on?
But also, there was the line where she's not taking or drinking the proper amount of milk every day, so she's not even eating properly either.
Well, and the first thing that struck me was how fancy they were.
Yeah,
that's
just the way she was dressed.
That's the very first thing. It's very fancy is the first thing. So she's got like almost a cocktail dress.
What is she doing
on.
here in the clinic in Poplar? Because I mean, maybe.
And their house is fancy.
Yeah.
They have a housekeeper, flowers, crystal vase.
Yes.
So
gold digger.
So many questions.
That was a question.
Were you doing that at that time? Like, yeah. But she wasn't like a positive gold digger. She was like so negative and sad all the time. I was like, okay, so this isn't a pleasant gold digging experience.
Which is great because they pose all this and we don't know why. And we have to, and then we, of course, later on we learn that she's had a very tragic history and orphaned and the whole thing. So there is no mother to be spoken of, and certainly one that won't be visiting. So
back to Delia. So when Delia comes back to the house, this was one of the great moments of this episode, I think. Delia comes back to the house for dinner.
Right.
And everyone stands up and
they toast with lemonade or whatever. Yeah, exactly. Great though, wasn't it?
It's a big deal.
Yeah, and I thought again, how she was on the phone was terrific because I really felt like she has no idea.
No.
But she's obviously knows about the health profession and she knows enough and she's been around it enough now. I guess she's saying just what she needs to say when she needs to say it. And cooler heads did prevail because had that been the wrong person on the phone, that would have been really bad.
And Sister Monica Joan, I'm not supposed to get involved with any medical.
And then Sister Monica
Joan, she's eating from jam.
Yes, fingers in the jam.
She loves that jam.
Like, go get somebody, but I'm not supposed to.
I haven't finished my jam.
Exactly.
And then Sister Monica Joan gives us the line of the century, or the line of the episode, rather.
Would any of you ladies like to say this one?
I will.
Okay, please.
I have always found the results of the male organ to be more rewarding than the organ itself.
Thank you very much. Thank you very
and
much.
all the faces. What?
Yeah, everybody
You said what?
Exactly. Yeah.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
Cheers!
Yeah, Sister Julian was great. Let's move on, shall we? Nothing to see here.
All right.
Nothing to see here. Exactly. Oh my God.
Hilarious.
Hilarious.
Embarrassing great aunt that says inappropriate things at dinner every time.
And you laugh about later.
I'm not really sure how I should process this information. Being the only male on this podcast. So.
Here's to John.
There's something rewarding there.
Here's to John.
Cheers.
Well, in many cases, I think she's absolutely true.
All right.
So,
all right, moving along.
But it was great that Delia had that moment, and I'm wondering what that will do for because they obviously talked about her. She's only supposed to man the phones, answer the phones, and then how is that going to work into the later episodes, and what kind of role is she going to take there? And Sister Winifred says that she's just going to wash your hair and sit back and not have to deal with that. So, do we think that it's going to set up Delia doing having a larger role in all this, or what do we think?
Yeah, I think so. I think that was going to go into my predictions.
All right, well then we'll talk about that at predictions. Let's move on to other things then. So the next time I guess what I'd like to go to is that Phyllis obviously is going to go. She knows something's up because Mom Roseanne is not acting the way you would expect and not saying the things, and she keeps trying to say certain things or get information, and it's not getting it until, of course, she shows up, and then she'd left the baby at the
there.
At the advice store, her little shop, and then they just left it there.
It was like,
but they were so nice because it's like
they seem to like my baby. Maybe they should keep my baby.
I think it was just terrible that this was the second episode in a row we saw a baby left by itself.
Yeah. And with a woman who's just totally ill-equipped to deal with it just yet. And and I liked how Dennis said it. He asked Phyllis, is it a magical thing where is it? I know it happens.
Bond.
That bond, and does it kick in? And Phyllis's response was terrific. The magic is
it happens.
Keeping on when all you want to do is run.
Yeah.
The magic is just keeping on when you just want to run away. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Real magic is keeping on when all you want to do is run.
There you go.
Yeah. But they played that over and over, because I couldn't figure it out. Is she really just postpartum? What's going on with her?
Suggested the baby blues.
Really weird.
Yeah.
So they did a good job.
And then when we see him roaming the streets, you're going, aha!
When he's looking for her.
When he's looking for her, he knows exactly where to look.
And then I wrote in caps, she is a hooker.
Was.
Well, she was talking about going back.
True,
so she still is a hooker in her mind.
In her mind, exactly.
She was definitely trapped.
Yeah, but what a sad choice to make, because she not because she wanted to, not because she needed to, but because it was the only thing she knew.
And the only thing she felt like she could.
Yeah.
Right. That's all she was. The only thing she's worth for. That's all her worth is.
Exactly.
Yeah, because of the upbringing and all this other stuff. And all those arguments, not necessarily arguments, but conversations about how I'm left at the Newman home and unwanted, and then it's no, you're the ones who couldn't be kept. There's a difference, and it's really just a shift in perception, because it's all the same, except for that shift in perception.
Yeah.
And she's still stuck there, and it reminds me of all that talk. Everybody, whenever a child is abused, that's when their healing, that's when their growth, I should say, stops.
Right.
So she's still that unwanted, unworthy. Yeah, it's just tragic.
People look past.
But I loved Sister Winifred. No, Phyllis rather's monologue there.
Right.
The whole monologue about what you were just saying about those who should being left by those who should have loved us.
We can't help people loving us, not loving us who should be.
Exactly, and that the shame
will keep us in all kinds of prisons. If you let it.
And don't abandon your child just because you were abandoned.
And then comparing it to her own upbringing and her own mother, and seeing how her mother prevailed, and sort of giving Roseanne some hope.
Yeah. Yeah, but again, it's one of those great scenes where you get the arguments, and when I mean arguments, the people's thinking, because certainly Roseanne's, I get it. Like, if you really think you're not going to be that good for you, I get why you would want to say, no, please let her be with somebody who's better than me, because I don't want to have this for her. Yeah. But even her friend who said, you think I want to do this, and let my dad, is like, no, I'm doing this so she doesn't have to. I mean, you're going, and I'm like, where does she turn? What does she do?
She wasn't getting it.
Yeah, she wasn't getting it. But she did eventually, obviously. Because how about that though? When they get her and she's walking home and she sees the light,
and she runs across the street. I really was. Because it was so devastating to hear her story, and to then listen to Phyllis's story, and it was devastating. And then to see the light go on, yes, I'm going home, and I want to go home, because it was the run across the street. I want to be there.
Right.
It was
so for the whole time she's been trying to get out and get away and out from under it, and not,
did that director tell you to run, or did it just come to you? Anyway.
One of the other things I was thinking, not to be a downer, but
here it comes.
she's made this decision and this choice to go back and be part of her child's life. And, you know, especially at that time, the gossip mill was so strong. And she's going to be overcoming that obstacle continually for as long as her child, you know, is around. The obstacle of her past, of, you know, having
she's still gonna have to overcome it. I mean, it's not like that's gonna go away. She's still gonna feel it. Every time something goes wrong, she's gonna think she's not enough.
And the fear of what if my child finds out, and what if I can't save her, and all of that kind of stuff.
But his argument is great too, because your child's gonna know you from this point on. He doesn't know your past. He doesn't care about your past. And even when she has her at the end there, and the child is finally latching on and stuff like that. See, she doesn't. She's not trembling.
No
she has no idea.
She just wants her mom.
And that's again another point of hope and stuff. And I thought that was a great point to add.
No, it was beautiful.
And did you guys? Not that I don't think it was needed at all, but it's still. I went, oh, is that his child, or did he find her when she was pregnant and then just said, look, I don't care, and I'm going to marry you and raise this child, or is it? Because I can't imagine this guy going to.
Right. See,
I know they met in church, but
all I really cared about was the relationship between Roseanne and her baby, not really, you know, her husband and Roseanne. I mean, it posed a lot of questions, but not enough for me to be upset that wasn't fully answered.
Well, at one point he said, "Look at this thing that we created. It's so tiny."
Right.
You know?
I know. So I know which way I go. Oh,
I'm making the assumption it's his child.
It must be. Then I just thought it was fascinating that I still had these questions. I didn't need them resolved or answered in any way. But I just thought it was great, because usually you get too much information, not in this show, but in other shows.
Yes.
And there's a whole wealth of information we don't know, and it's still, that storyline still made all kinds of sense and was still heartbreaking and redemptive and all that other stuff. So did you find that to be true?
Yeah.
Or did you really want to know?
No, I don't care, because again, it's all about the love and the compassion. That's what this, and kindness, you know. So for whatever his motivation was, I think we kind of learned his motivation was he was in love with her. I didn't feel at all there was I'm going to save you or any of that stuff as his motivation. And, you know, she seemed like she was genuinely admired him, and you know that she cared about him. Whether or not it was a great love for her, I'm not sure. And I would think, based on what she said about dreaming that God was her father when she was younger, that was probably some of the element of him being her protector.
Father figure to some degree in a weird way.
That she never had in any other way.
Exactly. And until she was able to feel like she was worthy of it anyway. Whether or not it was a great love, she wouldn't be able to feel that until she had gotten to that point.
Absolutely.
Which is what I cared about most. I was like, love yourself.
There you go.
So when she ran, I believed.
Exactly.
She got it.
And just like the end there, I love the name thing. I thought it was great. I named him after you, Faith, because you saw it in me.
What I couldn't.
Yeah, that's nice. And just again, just cinematically. I mean, in the beginning we see her in that nice green dress, but in the end we're in this very vibrant pink dress, which is reminiscent of the daughter. For me, that's what it was. Is that she's fully embraced that and she's living it. And I don't know. I thought it was just a good bookend with that storyline.
When I really did like the idea that every time she was going to refer to her child, that child would represent the faith that he had in her, and the hope of what was to come. Continual reminder, you cannot escape that. So there.
That's her lifetime of therapy.
Exactly.
Yeah. But she knows she's safe. She knows she's loved.
Whatever. Can we move on, please?
One thing, maybe one more thing. Did you notice when the husband went to the hospital and they said the quick line that she was registered 2 years before when she was first pregnant? So I wonder if this was like she had a miscarriage first and this was like her second child.
I don't know. Again, that's a whole bunch of things that they started. It's like, wow.
2 years ago.
Yeah. So, and she'd been in prison.
So who knows?
So not even. So crazy stuff, right? And he's
even more layers.
Yeah. It didn't matter.
No.
Didn't matter.
All right, so let's move on. We're gonna get to the Dr. Turner storyline.
No?
Yeah. Let's get into it.
Right to Dr.
So
Sana.
with Sheila and Tim and the whole ciggies and or fags, I guess. Is that still a term that they for cigarettes? I don't know.
Yeah.
So, this one, I don't know. I had challenges with this storyline. This one I wasn't as enamored of this one as I usually am. This one for me felt a little. Well, let me just get any overall thoughts. Did you guys enjoy this storyline? Did you like it? No?
It was a little cheesy.
See, this is the only time where I felt like, okay, they've dipped into sentimentality too much for me. It's a little on the nose.
A little hokey.
Yeah, just in just a few moments. It wasn't like the whole thing, but then there were a few. It was like, okay, I get why some people would say that this might be saccharine. So, did you guys feel that, or were you not in agreement?
Yeah, I felt it was a little bit bait and switch the way that they promote it for us, that this might be a big issue, but it was more so, hey, this is just a forewarning, this is happening, but it wasn't really chalked up to what it was supposed to be.
And I quit and eat cookies.
Yeah, exactly. I wonder, John, if it might partly be because we clearly know, clearly know the ill effects of cigarettes.
Sure.
And the first question I wrote in the margins was 1961. Really, they didn't know, and I believe that. But I mean, it maybe because we know so clearly that there's a strong correlation, it makes it feel
dated.
Yeah, and more, a little bit silly, as opposed to the thalidomide storyline.
Sure.
When people, lots of people watching the show did not know when they said the word thalidomide. Many of us went, ah! And other people were like, "What is that?"
Google.
Google it exactly. So that's one sort of caveat.
It could. I mean, but usually, like I've said on many occasions, they've handled things that we've known, and they've handled them much more adeptly than I think they handled this one. Usually they're much more nuanced, some subtleties and stuff. This one felt a little on the nose to me. It went from I saw him smoking, there's an argument, and then the next scene he's saying he's quitting, and it was just a little too easy. It's a little easier than they usually make them, I guess, for me.
I also felt that Dr. Turner's performance was also a little on the manic level, with I don't want to say that it was bad. It just felt like he was a little too big for the room on some of the things that he was saying. Really hitting like, they're calling them coffin nails. And I'm like, do you have to really yell that line?
Well, that's what I meant by a little on the nose.
The fight between him and the son when he caught him with the cigarettes was just
it was
very
a bit out of character, wasn't it?
It wasn't what I'm accustomed to.
Yeah, that's what I mean by subtleties and nuances. I felt like they needed to, if you pulled that back a little bit or cut it quickly, or because they did it. They brought Sheila in to try to quicken that and cut that. But I didn't think I think they could have done a better job on that. That's all.
The other thing I was sort of discussing with you a little bit earlier was the actor who plays Dr. Turner has so much character in his face already that even the littlest bit of
emoting,
extra emoting, is amplified because of just how he looks. And exactly. So I think it's a careful line that has to be crossed. And I would like to know from you, do you think it's the writing or the directing that really kind of put it over?
Well, I how do you pinpoint that? For me, you could say that all of them
depends on the scene and the moment.
Yeah, I mean, what I was thinking when I originally saw it is if I'd been on the other end of that, watching it, the scene perform, I would probably have asked the actor to pull that back a little bit. It's great. I think the instincts were all right and everything like that, but I think they just pull it back. And if you pull it back, it would have been fine. Courtney, thoughts?
I guess. I mean, I can't really pinpoint why it was uncomfortable for me, other than it just seemed too simple and too oh no, he's smoking, it's over, I'm never smoking again, eat your cookies, wife, when you feel like you want to smoke. It felt like a bad PSA. I just it wasn't
I can kind of agree with that
at all.
I think it was enough for Dr. Turner to open his eyes to what was actually happening, but it wasn't enough to contrast what he was telling his patient, which is about life longevity and the quality of life and extending that compared to what we, the audience, know that smoking can shorten your life. So I think it was interesting.
I think it's this though. I think
disconnect.
I thought it obviously it works great thematically because here he is telling Frank Phillips that look, you're going to beg me for every day that you can get with your family because you really want to be with them. And here he is smoking like a chimney.
Right.
So thematically it works because here he is. I'm telling this person I'm not even taking my own advice. That part works great. Yeah. But in juxtaposition with the other storyline, which is Dennis's and Roseanne's we were just talking about, they gave us all kinds of information, didn't resolve anything, or I should say didn't resolve much. They just just to give us context and nuance and all that other stuff, and here there isn't that. It's right in your face, right on the nose, obvious and simple. And I think in comparison that's why those scenes didn't work as well as they might have in a different context, because here we have ones where we're we don't know what's happening. We haven't figured it out. We're getting little bits of information till the end. And this one, we don't get that. It's right up front.
And also with it, Dr. Turner already knew that there was research that this was a possibility.
Right. And denial about.
So the jump to like full acceptance of it to me seemed untrue. Like it didn't seem honest, and it wouldn't have been a genuine reaction because he already knew that was in existence. And to suddenly just, oh no, I saw my son with a cigarette and I saw a dirty lung. Like you already know this stuff.
And again, in the writing, they tried to make that work by saying, look, even the son says you give them the worst choice so you can see the best choice and everything. But even that felt like, okay, the 14-year-old figured that out and you didn't.
Yeah, and he's a precocious kid.
He is, absolutely.
But talking about how he'd been reading something for years, negotiating skills for years.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
I did like I did like the parallel from the patient that had the dark lungs. We find out that he started smoking at 15, and then when he finds out that his son, who's 14, started smoking, I can understand why he freaked out.
Again, I thought thematically that's terrific, because we see that a lot, and it's very effective when you do that. You're saying one thing and saying other things. It's like, oh, oops.
Do as I do.
And I like that part of it. I just, for whatever reason, those didn't feel as and then they did that little montage
of the three dads,
which I thought was a terrific little thematic device. And they don't usually use that. But they employed it here. I thought to great effect.
Agreed.
Yeah, and and right there, that kind of encapsulated everything, and that really, for me, that really helped that story. So did you guys feel that way? No, didn't work for.
It did for me. I wrote that I liked the three dad montage.
Yeah.
I mean, it was nice.
I like that there were
emotionally.
Yeah, I like that there were 3 strong men in this episode compared to all the other ones where it's usually strong
guys
women. The guys
missing.
haven't really been supportive, and we had 3 strong guys this episode.
True. Good point, Marissa. I like that.
Did you like the postmortem? Was that fun? Seeing the nice.
It was delicious.
Yeah, carcinogenic lungs.
I was like, I'm pretty sure I saw a lung in school.
I thought that was interesting. I was like, zoom in closer.
Like, what's going on? Oh, that was terrible.
Yeah, that looked nasty.
That was awful.
Yeah.
Smoking's bad, guys.
That's right. Yeah.
But I think Turner actually dousing in real life.
And when he's talking to his buddy Jim in the office.
Smoking
put
is
that
bad.
Out. Maybe it's the air.
That's why we have a headache.
Okay.
Not our favorite.
Not our favorite. But not like it was horrible either. It's just that it's for me it just wasn't on the level that they used to.
That's the thing. When you're continually delivering excellence,
you set that bar high.
If you take it off just a notch, it glares. Exactly. That's all.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's move on to Fred and Violet, because for me. I just feel so bad for Fred.
I love
He's
Fred.
hysterical, and I love him too. But I just at certain times he's just so hapless. And helpless.
Perfect word.
But
the hapless
haberdasher.
Just all
with the hapless haberdasher.
Haberdasher.
And then with the door. We need a door.
Oh my God.
He's like,
what kind of door?
Handle on or off?
Yeah, exactly.
She has to lay on it.
Yeah.
Can't you just give her a pill?
Yeah. I mean, just from that, I was just like, oh boy, this is not going to be good.
But he was dressed and ready to take over the shop.
And he was wearing pink, just like Violet. Not pink, excuse me, Violet. He was wearing Violet for Violet's death. Nicely done. I mean, the guy is so earnest in his effort. And I even love the juggling and the things in the back, that little montage they did with him.
Yeah.
I thought that part was fabulous.
And he got her helper. He had an assistant.
Couldn't. My assistant.
No idea what he was getting in for.
Not at all.
And then I thought they were great. The first patrons in. Brazier fitting. And monthlies. Said the monthlies, and it just, that was the great look on his face, and then when he finally realizes what that is. Yeah.
I need a
Love
woman
it.
to help me.
Yeah.
And a parallel to what Phyllis was saying, men can't even be in here because they're giving out.
Right, because the ladies are getting embarrassed.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, wow, that's right, 61, I guess still, huh? Okay. Yeah.
I mean,
monthlies.
Some guys still are embarrassed.
Yeah.
In the story.
I appreciate his effort, and
Yeah.
he was really trying.
His best effort was getting Barbara, though.
That was very
a smart
effective.
effort.
No, I think one of his best efforts was when he was on the phone trying to get that order. He was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I'm asking you a favor.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, oh, just give him the order.
Tried to negotiate. Like,
Yeah.
why weren't you on time? Where
Yeah.
were you, Fred?
And I just kudos to the cinematographer and the choices, because in the first time we see him in the Vice shop, he's sitting there and he's getting everything lined up and ready, and he's so cheery, and and he's the juggling and things in
Dusting.
the bag and all that other stuff, and then the next time we see him, he's hiding behind the cash register. It's like, wow, nice. How quickly we've fallen. Yeah.
Like, they can see you.
Yeah, I know
You're
exactly.
still
You were
there.
not hiding at all. Here's what you need to do: door. Be behind it.
Yes. Go behind
Yeah.
the door.
It was so sweet,
But
though.
Violet, so patient,
Yeah.
so kind.
Okay,
Yeah.
honey.
Yeah.
In her little nightgown. So precious.
And I love it.
girl.
Even at the end of that, she
Yeah.
did stick up for Fred.
Yes.
Granted, he didn't do anything really right, but she stuck up for
That customer,
stuck up
Mrs.
for
What's her
jerk.
name? Mrs.
Yeah.
Cadman.
Yeah.
She was rude.
She was rude.
Not cool.
not my shop.
Crap about my husband.
Yeah.
When I was laid
The
up
English
on my
are
back.
so good at the passive aggressive rude. I couldn't believe she just blurted it all right out. I guess she figured she was safe in the ladies' shop.
Yeah. Well,
But
how many haberdasheries are there?
I'm
I don't
gonna
know.
ask you to leave. You can get your brassiere somewhere else.
exactly.
Yeah.
Wait 40 years for Victoria's Secret to come into your
I know,
life.
right?
Yeah.
But that is pretty nice. They all got custom bras.
Yeah,
Custom fitted
sure.
bras.
You bet.
you
Fred, my favorite line with Fred was when he was going to get Violet, get her all ready and get her coat because hell's going to freeze over before I take you to that shop. Oh, that made me laugh out loud. It actually did.
He's
loved it.
fantastic.
I love Violet's line to Fred. It's you're my champ. I don't care about the shop. It's what I have when I didn't have anyone.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up because I was really sad when he called himself a chump and she didn't really
Yeah.
Counter
that at
Yes.
all. I was like, he was trying. Yeah, he failed,
Yeah.
but dang, and he went away. So I was glad she brought that back up.
But
Yes.
it's just like the message. Even if we didn't have anything, you were still
I do
there.
think what did he fail? He missed an order. It's not. He kept the
Yeah.
store open. He got Barbara. They did business. I mean,
did business,
they were
exactly.
fine. He just
Absolutely.
missed an order. That's not. And she said, "Yeah,
We'll be late a little
we'll be
bit.
late." So there's no big deal. I just thought, to me, it was again, it was going back thematically. Here we have a mother saying she's not good enough,
Right?
right enough, enough, and then we have this is the same repeat from from a man's perspective, not being able to be there and away for his wife.
Yes.
It just thematically works and everything like that. But I wanted Violet to go a little bit harder on that. Yeah, knock it off. You did great.
You did just
By the
fine.
way, I'm fine. Look at me. I'm up and at 'em.
Yeah.
So thank you for letting me have that break because I needed it.
And stop hugging me so hard.
Exactly. Exactly.
And work on that hula hoop, girl.
Yeah, that was
All right.
Up those
Bicycling.
what an amazing
That was the best
exercise.
workout cast ever.
Yeah, that was the best.
Oh my gosh.
Who needs Taibo or whatever the latest one is? I don't know what the hell the latest one is.
What's his
It's
song?
not Taibo.
I know it's not
Say-
Taibo.
I think it's
I can't remember. That's how far it's been since I've listened to one of those. But
Insanity.
Insanity, what PBX 90, whatever the heck they are.
Yeah.
I don't
Not
even
even
know.
25 now.
Yeah. So,
Hot,
but that was hysterical to see that routine and everything.
It's just hula hoop.
Trixie says, like,
You know,
why
that
is
was
Trixie
the
offended?
only scene Trixie was in.
No, she was in the
Yeah.
next
She's in the
one when
one
she got the
with
urine, but that was about it.
Yeah.
And she was at the dinner when everybody was toasting.
She must
So
have been-
just
Yeah.
She's a little
cursory.
out of it.
But we didn't see anything with
No Tom and Barbara,
No Tom and
no
Barbara,
Trixie.
Trixie.
Very little Delia and Patsy.
Yeah.
Anna.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're we have.
And Sister Julian.
This is 5. Was this 5?
Yes, no, this
Yeah.
was 4.
4.
4.
Am I right?
I think this was 5.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh shoot! I think I said 4
So-
at
Yeah,
the
there's
top.
3 left.
Three
That's it,
more.
That's it.
I don't like that.
That's it.
We just and I'm reliving the last days of Downton because in the U.S. Downton Abbey is winding up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I keep track of our people who are watching that
Yeah.
and and so they're going through. So we're gonna have another finale. Well, it's not. At least it's not a series finale. It's just a season finale. But
because it wasn't supposed to be on top of each other like this.
I think we'll get more of the main people next episode.
Well, let's talk about the coming ups. We don't really have any news and gossip, so we're going to move on to just coming ups. Right.
I do have some shout outs.
Yeah, and we'll do some shout outs. So the coming ups, so Sister Julian's going to factor into it because I can't remember what was the scene we saw with her in the coming ups. Does anybody recall that?
I don't.
Okay.
She was
being
Trixie,
talked to by somebody about something.
Yeah, well, thank you very much, Tamara. Way to encapsulate that.
She had words.
Well, we had Sister Mary Cynthia gets awakened at night because Trixie needs her for some odd reason.
Yeah, something.
We have no idea what that's
very
about.
Odd happening. Yeah. I wonder if that's a Patsy Delia situation.
It's finally good.
Okay. Well, I don't know. That'll be interesting. But we also had some woman being
attacked
by
in the street.
an animal. We don't know what that means, and of course,
then they're worried.
Yeah,
and then the
Fred,
police brigade.
Yeah, that's right. Fred's back in action.
Yeah.
So
and Chummy and what's his face?
Noakes. Officer Constable.
Yeah. Noakes.
Did you see that?
He was in it, but not Chummy.
Not Chummy. Yeah, she's not in the season.
Darn it! Don't tease us like that.
Sorry, I saw him. I think, Chummy, where are you?
All right. Well, listen. We unless we have any last thoughts, we gotta.
I have some shout outs.
Oh, let's do that, please.
So thank you all for comments and tweets and questions. Anna in Ireland. Aurelia Ansa, A Girl, Books, and Other Things, Laura Green, Susan Burrows, Dawn Wood, Caroline, and Eden.
Oh, yeah, hope you're feeling better.
Hope you're feeling good, Eden. We got a lot of people not exactly correcting us, but sort of refining things for us about last week's episode about the baby that was by the window.
Right.
Okay.
And that was a both sort of merciful and shameful chapter in English history about, because they were leaving the baby there because while it was under anesthetic, it would speed their death. But also, that's kind of a horrible thing to think of, that you're speeding the death of a disabled baby.
And you can make the argument if the baby's going to die,
feel it, and if they're right, exactly.
I'm sure they had.
So anyway, there was a fair amount there was a little bit of discussion, a little bit of information, and it was really interesting. What people were saying. So you may want to go back if you're interested to look at the YouTube comments, because some very good information was written in by our watch viewers.
Oh, great!
Thank you,
really
guys.
Nice. And we get tweets and comments from people that really help us because we don't know everything. Also, we are American.
We are American. This is America.
As much as an Anglophile as I am, and they use
the colloquialisms and things like that.
Different colloquialisms, different history, obviously. Yeah. So I really greatly appreciate when people
context. We love the context.
School us a little bit because it's helpful. Yeah. It's very helpful. We do. You do. So thank you all very much.
So keep that coming.
Yeah.
I appreciate all kinds of comments, especially, one of my favorites are Caroline's, which she comes up with her thoughts on.
Yeah, Caroline, we're waiting for you to give us some good predictions for next time.
I can't wait to hear what kind of crazy things she comes up with.
Yeah.
All right, so last thoughts? Anything before we say goodbye, and where they can find you?
My last thought was just that last quote that she gave when she said 1 + 1 has always equaled more than 2 to equal a whole.
A whole.
And I laughed and loved it all at the same time. So I was like, oh my God, yes, because a whole could be 8 pieces and it could be amazing. So whatever, that's just one of those random things that was sort of comical and yet emotionally moving for me.
I did see that there's...
By the way, one of the most fun things to do is watch the show with Courtney to see what kinds of...
I should actually record that while I'm watching
you should do that on the couch, Bravo on the couch thing.
Exactly. Yeah, I should do it. I'm usually I'm at my computer usually.
Dr. Turner's Casebook is a new book that it's come out in the last couple of weeks.
Is that right?
Which chronicles some of the things that he's gone through on the show. So it's really interesting. You might want to look for that.
Okay.
And,
I like the poem that he was reading to I forget, was it his son? But about all the stars laughing.
Oh, you mean Frank Phillips?
Yeah,
Oh,
Frank.
Frank.
That's
Yeah.
a Frank.
Yes, the storybook.
But that's actually real.
Yeah.
That's a real poem.
You know, I gotta say,
Called The Little
this is my
Prince.
last thought because we didn't really talk about it because it really didn't have much to do with the storylines. But when Sheila was talking to Dr. Turner in the beginning, she's talking about the James Bond.
That's what I meant to say. That started the cheese for me.
Exactly.
For their entire story.
I was like, what? But they let her loose for a second. It's like, right, oh, okay.
And she kept going.
Yeah, it's like, okay, let's go, Pavlova, whatever.
It was
what
cute.
Russian name.
Yeah,
Reel it in, girl.
Yeah.
Reel it in.
just to pull it back, and she was trying to be,
Yeah, I
funny
know.
and cartoonish,
I thought
but
that, yeah.
It totally
I'm with you on that.
All right, we gotta go. Tell them where they can find you, Courtney.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Stewart Starlet.
I am at Tamara Berg on Twitter, and tamaracentral.com is my website.
Marisa.
And you can follow me on Twitter at Serafini TV.
And you can only find me right here next week when we talk about Call the Midwife Series 5. We'll talk to you next time. Bye.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
Cup of tea.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.